Some potentially good news for the Second Amendment for a change here on Guns and Gadgets. You don't want to watch this one. Yep, that's right, you heard that. Potentially good news. Welcome to Guns and Gadgets. My name is Jared. I am your humble host. This is where you're going to get Second Amendment news pretty much faster than anywhere else, no matter where it happens in the country. So please subscribe to the channel, help the channel continue to grow, helps me get the news out there. If you could like and share, that would help also. And I wanted to tell you all about something that could be good. 21 state attorneys general have asked the United States Supreme Court to strike down a Maryland law that denies concealed carry permits to their citizens unless their applicants can convince the local authorities that they have a, quote, good and substantial reason to be granted their Second Amendment rights by the authority. Now, these 21 attorneys general filed a friend of the court, an amicus brief filing, and I will tell you the 21 states that did this. The chief writer of this was West Virginia Attorney General Patrick Morrisey, a Republican, and the rest were Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, and Utah. And their specific question for the United States Supreme Court to contemplate was this, and I'm going to read the quote. Quote, whether the Second Amendment allows the government to prohibit typical law-abiding citizens from carrying handguns outside the home for self-defense in any manner. Now, what they're looking to do is expand the Heller decision, which granted the Second Amendment right was an individual right for each individual person, citizen in this country. And if you're a citizen when you leave the house, then your rights should leave the house with you. And this is looking to get the Supreme Court to basically say, yeah, you're right. It goes no matter where you go. Now, I have a copy of the brief. I'll put a link in the description below. I'm going to read you the first 2.5 quick paragraphs, and you'll get an idea of what's really going on here. So he says, the Friends of the Court states, the Amici states, Alabama, Alaska, Arizona, Arkansas, Georgia, Idaho, Indiana, Kansas, Louisiana, Mississippi, Missouri, Montana, Nebraska, North Dakota, Ohio, Oklahoma, South Carolina, South Dakota, Texas, Utah, and West Virginia have a profound interest in protecting the fundamental right of their citizens to keep and bear arms. That is why they are counted among the 41 states that have enacted shall-issue licensing regimes, or their equivalent, which allow any law-abiding citizen who meets objective criteria to lawfully carry a handgun outside of the home. A handful of states have departed from this nationwide consensus. They limit the exercise of this fundamental right to only the rare citizen who can prove to a bureaucrat's satisfaction that she needs to bear a handgun outside the home. These states rely on concerns about public safety to justify their restrictions. But the Amici states have the same interest in protecting their citizens, and they do so without extinguishing their citizens' rights. So what he's saying in legal jargon is, these 41 states do it, and we don't have any problems. These states do it they restrict it for public safety, and we have public safety, but we don't restrict our citizens' rights to carry. Why do they get to do it? Why should they do it, and why are they restricting their citizens' rights? And the last part that I'll read here is, moreover, the Amici states recognize that the enshrinement of constitutional rights necessarily takes certain policy choices off the table. Basically means if you have the right, it doesn't matter what your policy is, it's a right. You just can't stop it because it makes you feel fuzzy. Now, the case in question is Malpaso versus Palazzi. I'll also have a link to that in the description. It's right on the Supreme Court website. You'll be able to read all the individual briefs of everybody else who has filed them as well. And hopefully we get a writ of certiorari out of that, and it should be very soon. Now, the petition for the certiorari went in September 26th, and they just filed this brief last week. Now, in this case, William Palazzi, P-A-L-L-O-Z-Z-I, is the Maryland Secretary of State Police. And he was appointed by Republican Governor Larry Hogan, and he had this to say in response in his own brief. He said the state of Maryland doesn't ban the public carrying of handguns. Instead, it allows a lawful owner of a handgun to wear, carry, or transport the handgun without a permit in a public place in connection with a wide range of activities, and with a permit where the applicant has a good and substantial reason, including to provide protection from an apprehended danger. Historically, Maryland has granted the overwhelming majority of permit applications based on the claimed good and substantial reason. Now, the Supreme Court currently has one case before it, and that is the New York State Rifle and Pistol Association case versus the City of New York. And we'll hear about that, but I know I listened to the arguments on that case, and there was a lot of the justices were citing that, why should we rule on an old law if New York has changed this law? So I don't know if we're going to come out on top on that one, but we'll see. But what we'll also see relatively shortly is if they will take up this case. Now, why is this case important? Why am I bringing this to you? If you live in one of those 41 states, you're not going to understand what it's like living in a state like this in Massachusetts, the People's Republic, where you have to beg and plead and go through all kinds of background checks and mental health checks and all kinds of craziness to basically prove that you're as pure as the undriven snow. And then it's up to an individual, the chief of police in each town or city. They have the ability to just say, nope, you're not getting the license to carry because I don't like you. And there's all kinds of leeway that they have. It's not supposed to be that way. And this case could strike that down across the country. Now, I'll say that we have gone a decade since the Supreme Court has taken up a Second Amendment case. Will they take up two back to back? I don't know. But you know where you will find out if they'll do it? Right here. Subscribe to the channel, and when I hear about it, you'll hear about it. And that's the only way you're going to get it, because the Second Amendment news doesn't make it to Channel 5. They don't talk about it on Channel 7. CNN doesn't care. Basically, this is where you need to be. So come join the growing freedom family. And until we see each other again, I'm your humble host, Jared. Thank you for all of your support. The channel is doing far better than I thought, and I owe it to you, the viewer. So thank you. I hope you all have a happy new year. And until we see each other again, be safe, stay vigilant, and carry a weapon. Take care, everybody.